Hey folks, my guest today is Greg Raffner. As one of the very first power users of conversational intelligence as an account executive, he fell in love with how technology enabled his success. As Abstract's leader, his vision and why is to help every sales rep and leader avoid the pain of missing their number. You can follow along at his website. It's abstract, spelled abstrakt.ai. Greg, you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Nathan.
All right, who were you working for where you were selling these, using these conversational intelligence tools?
Yeah, so I was working for a company called Acton Software back when marketing automation first kind of took off, back when HubSpot was becoming a thing. And Acton was a company that was known for being an early adopter of technology. And so we started using Gong actually back when they had like a football player on their website, on their homepage. I think we were one of the first handful of users of Gong like 7 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, no, act on well. That makes tons of sense there. So you were using Gong. So I guess help me understand now what you're building today as it relates to what you learned from using Gong at Acton.
Yeah, so with with Gong, it's an amazing tool. They've obviously done very well for themselves. As one of my first customers described it, Gong is like finding the black box after the plane's already gone down. Tells you what went wrong, tells you what happened, but it does nothing to actually kind of stop losing the opportunity. And I wanted to do something about that. And so with Abstract, we're a real-time conversational intelligence software where based upon what you're telling me, Nathan, as my customer or prospect, Abstract is in real time telling me what I should be saying, what questions I should be asking, how to handle those objections so that I don't lose the opportunity. And we do all that through natural language processing, a little bit of machine learning, and some fancy algorithms.
Anytime someone comes on and mentions machine learning algorithms, my follow-up question is always the same. Both of those tools are useless unless you spend a lot of time training them and you have a very large data set to feed into them, which usually requires someone to do a lot of freaking work. Have you figured out a way to have someone be able to get value from this and avoid having to do all that upfront work? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, so no secret. We just found a creative way to tap into Google's library and data already. And so typically, the way most companies tap into Google's library and natural language processing capabilities results in the capabilities not being able to be used in real time. And so we, as one of my engineers would say, stumbled into a creative way to tap into that and access that data in real time.
Yeah, you're talking about like the natural language AI from Google, right?
Yeah, correct.
But the question still is the same, right? For every company, let me just be very specific for a second. If you're trying to sell mode.com, which competes with Looker, maybe Mode knows that because they're selling to developers, don't say the word pricing until at least minute 25. But if you're selling to a CMO, maybe you're a company like HubSpot selling to someone, you need to say pricing in the first 3 minutes. Who's training the system to know 25 minutes versus 3 minutes?
Got it. Great. Okay. Thank you for clarifying, Nathan. So, candidly, we're too early in our data set to have that information. We suspect in about 2 years, we'll be able to start making those recommendations to our customers based upon the data that we have. But right now, the system is configurable per customer. So, if you're a Looker, you're configuring the system to say what you want a rep to say when it hears XYZ objection or question.
I
And
see.
so, as our customers are configuring the system, it's helping us build that data set to then be able to, here in the future, kind of start to make those recommendations.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right. So the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise. They sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. Okay, that makes complete sense to me. So what are companies paying you on average per month to use your technology?
$100 per user per month, and our average customer has about 16 seats in the product.
Okay, got it. So that's about $1,500 a month on average.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. When did you start building this? What year?
So we started almost 2 years ago to the week. So early March of 2020.
Okay, 2020. Got it. And how did you fund the MVP?
Great question. So convinced my wife to let me take a decent chunk of our savings account out and kind of get a proof of concept built. And with that proof of concept, I went and raised a small kind of friends and family angel round from local investors here in Arizona. And that got me to my MVP that we launched on April 1st of 2021.
Okay, get real with me here because everyone goes through this, right? It's the conversation with the spouse going, baby, how much are we going to put into this startup? And they're going, honey, I'm working a full-time gig to support this crazy idea you're working on. Like, if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna be pissed. How much was it? Are we talking like 10K or like 1,000?
$60,000.
60. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And was that meaningful for you guys? Like, was it going to be stressful if you lost 60 grand, or was that like play money for you?
So what's funny is at the time my wife was pregnant with our first son, and we knew we wanted to have a second child, and so she's now pregnant with our second child, and so she doesn't work. Thank you. And so she's a full-time mom, and so yeah, it wasn't insignificant for us to make that investment, because if I lost it, that lost our cushion. That lost, that risked potentially having my wife go back to work and not be able to take care of our children. So it's super stressful. I mean, it's, but the way I kind of explained it to her, I was like, hey, you spent 60 grand on your college education that you don't use anymore. So I get to use 60 grand for abstract.
That's so funny. Okay. And how many weeks or months did it take you to get the MVP to a point where you could sell it?
So what's crazy is we got V1 of our product out on April 1st, and we weren't expecting revenue until like October, November of 2021.
Sorry, just to be clear, that's like 5 weeks from first line of code to launch.
No, so we spent about a year. So March of 2020
to next April.
To next April 2021. So it took us about a year to get the product to the place where we were like, let's go give it to customers. And on April 1st, we got production ready product. And our plan was to go out and just give it to like beta users, like give it to people. Hey, go use this, see what you think about it. We weren't expecting revenue for at least a handful of months. We ended up closing our first customer and getting our first dollar of revenue 3 weeks after launching the product. And it was kind of crazy when we weren't expecting it. And we actually kind of grew at a nice organic pace that allowed us to bring on customers last year while still hardening the product, developing our roadmap before we went out and closed our real seed round of funding last year. And then one startup showdown a couple weeks ago.
Interesting. Okay. So hold on. 60K personal money. You raised a pre-seed in 2020. How much was the pre-seed for?
$130,000.
Okay. And was that sort of typical $3 or $4 million cap?
So we had a $4 million value cap on that from friends and family round. Yep.
Yeah, that makes tons of sense. And then you did the seed round in 2021. How much did you raise there?
So we raised with the winnings that we just won 3 weeks ago in Atlanta. So we raised $620,000 total.
Okay, when before the prize money, when was the other money closed?
December of last year.
Okay, got it. If the prize money was 120, that means you raised about 500K. Now, was that at
Yeah.
like a higher? Was that what 6, 7 million valuation or?
So we actually did a little bit less. We were still kind of risky in my mind. And I felt like it wasn't really fair to go out and try to raise that valuation on the value cap. So we kept it at $4 million. I essentially just decreased the interest rate a little bit and kept the value cap the same.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, then you just won this competition, which is great. You give up no equity, I assume, right?
So they take a small percentage of equity. Just
How much?
so I can't discuss the details of it with you, Nathan.
What's the name? What was the name of the competition?
Startup Showdown, hosted by Panoramic Benches.
Oh, interesting. So there's base like if you do they only take equity if you win, or even if you enter and don't win, they still take equity?
Just if you win.
Okay, Panoramic Ventures. Okay, interesting. And why'd you decide to enter and spend your time on that? Obviously, your time is very valuable as a startup founder.
Um, Honestly, I entered that competition in May of last year, and I got told that two things. One, they didn't think we could actually build a stable product that people would buy, and two, they didn't think we could go out and get customers. And so I had this kind of, I guess, chip on my shoulder. And so I was like, you know what? I saw a LinkedIn thing post about it. I was like, I'm going to go apply to this. Let's see if I can kind of prove these guys wrong. And so the only reason I entered it was honestly to, I guess, prove them wrong.
So what sport did you play in college?
So soccer, baseball, and snowboarding.
There I go. This guy's competitive as hell, and that explains that dynamic.
Yes. don't tell me I can't do something.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, interesting. Yeah. All right, now you got your first customers. Then how many customers are you serving now today?
113.
That's 113 seats or logos?
113 logos.
Wow. Okay. Can I take 113 times $1,500 a month? You're doing $170,000 a month in revenue.
Simple math. Well done, Nathan.
That's pretty incredible growth.
Yeah. It's been fun, right? Like what's crazy is most people don't know this technology exists. And so when they see it, we have a 7-day sales cycle. So it's generally like, okay, let's get started because no one else is solving this problem.
Mm-hmm. But just to be clear, that's really rapid growth, right? What did you do? What was your run rate? What did you finish 2021 with?
60,000 in ARR.
Yeah. So like your monthly recurring revenue in December. So this has been 4 or 5 months ago was what?
$5,500, $5,000.
4 months ago. So you've basically added all your revenue in the past 4 or 5 months.
Yes, sir.
Well, okay, this is crazy. So how did you land those first 113 customers at a pretty high price point, I would say, for a startup?
Yeah. So ultimately, myself, my founding team, our background is in sales and marketing. So we did what we knew how to do. We generated an inbound marketing machine. We spent 1.5 years building content so we could rank organically when people are searching for our competition.
Name 2 or 3 of those. What are the search terms in Google?
So real-time call coaching software, conversational intelligence software, sales coaching software. I think we just got to page 1 on that. I think, like conversational intelligence software, we just passed Gong in our rankings for that keyword. And so, it was just building out kind of a steady, generate an inbound marketing machine. And I knew 2 years ago that I needed to start that process then in order to have it impact us today. And
yeah, Greg, you have some sort of genius here that I have to dig to find out because you're above HubSpot, Gong, and a lot of people for conversational intelligence software. So how are you so good at SEO? What's the secret sauce here?
I can't take any credit for it, Nathan. I found people that are better than me and got out of their way. Mm-hmm. And I think if I could give anybody starting a company a piece of advice, it would be like, as a founder, you've got to put your ego aside and you have to understand where your gaps are. And I couldn't tell you the secret sauce in terms of how we got there. I was just told, hey, go write the content. We'll tweak it. We'll edit it. We'll put in the meta tags. We'll do the keyword saturation. And I was like, cool. So I built a team that knew what they were doing and I got out of their way.
Where did you find those people? And was it one person or how many, or an agency or what?
Yeah. So there's a couple different people, kind of a mix between knowing people. So Claire Dobson, our director of marketing, she worked at an agency. She's the wife of one of my best friends. And so I just kind of spent time talking with her about what she knew and what she had done. And when she explained what she was capable of, brought her on board. And then I met a couple people actually through some connections out in India that kind of self-proclaimed nerds and geeks around Google and SEO, and brought them on board on a contracting basis. And like I said, got
Did you
out of their
find them
way.
via Did you find them on Upwork or Fiverr or what?
Through LinkedIn, actually, just kind of reaching out to people and was like, "Hey, do you know anybody that does this and this and this?" And
What were those? What were the thises?
like, who do you know that lives and breathes paying attention to Google search algorithm changes? Google makes hundreds of those changes a year, about 13 major changes a year. Who do you know that could tell me every single time Google makes an impactful change to their algorithm? I want to talk to that person and I want to bring them on board and I want to hire them.
Yep. So you hired these two folks in India full time.
Yep, correct.
Oh, wow. How big is the team today?
So we have just two people here in the United States, two people in India, and then I have my offshore, offshore development team in Indonesia is 9 people.
I love how you're building this. This is so cool. Okay. Tell me about the offshore dev team. How did you find them?
So I'm not a technical person, Nathan. I've become maybe an elementary level technical person over the past 2 years. But when I started Abstract, I was trying to find a technical co-founder, and everybody I talked to told me one of two things: like, no, this can't be built. The technology it doesn't exist. Or two, I can't build it with the amount of money you want to build it for. And so I went to this website called Co-Founders Lab, where I ended up finding a gentleman by the name of John Bunting out of Omaha, Nebraska, of all places. And he started a startup studio called BSO Studio. And I
What was
approached
it
him with
called?
BSO Studio.
Okay.
And so started talking with him, and he was like, screw it, let's try it. And so kind of pulled together the team, a
Did you
mixture
give John
of
50%?
no, just
Okay.
single digit equity percentage to
Okay.
come on and build the product.
Oh, so he's
And
full
so,
time now.
yep, yeah.
He's the
So
second
they're
one in the US.
no, so that's Claire. So John's kind of moved out of the picture, and now we're just working with the development team in Indonesia.
But John still has equity.
He still has his company, BSO still has equity for getting us to this point.
Oh, so they sort of help with the MVP as a startup studio and then helped basically transfer your work onto this firm in Indonesia.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Ah, super smart. I love this. Okay, and can we look at the website of the firm in Indonesia?
So it's called BSO Studio. So it's
Oh,
all
his
kind of,
firm, his people are in Indonesia.
yeah, correct.
Oh, I see. So he's okay, got it. So you're still paying BSO Studio for work for their talent that they're onboarding or not based off needs in Indonesia.
Correct. Yeah. So ultimately, we're, I guess, contracting them in a little bit of ways. But
I see.
I mean, what I'm able to get out of them for the dollars that I put into it is so much more than if I, went here in the United States or hired just a single technical co-founder here in the United States.
Makes a lot of sense. Can I ask what do you pay them per month? Like a range is fine.
Anywhere between like $12,000 and $25,000 a month.
Yeah, yeah. But again, cheap because of all the equity preserved. If you grow this big, right? I mean, makes a ton of. You have to take a risk up front, but right,
Yep,
if it works, it works. So this is super cool.
exactly.
And then, sorry, real quick on the two SEOs in India. What's their website, or do they not have a website?
They don't have a website. Yeah, they don't
Because
have
they're
a
just with
website.
you.
Yeah, and I combined pay them $1,000 a month.
That's crazy. Okay, interesting. I'd love to interview one of them if you're open to it, to ask them exactly what strings they pulled to help you rank for these things. I see a headline of small Phoenix startup outranks $10 billion gong for the word conversational intelligence. And I want the playbook.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
It's been a fun ride. I think ultimately, like, I was fortunate, Nathan, where I saw I was part of Acton Software, and then I went to a company called Allbound, and I saw what Allbound did, where they invested in inbound content and creating the optics of looking bigger than you actually are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a playbook that I wanted to follow, where if you look at our company, if you look at our product, you would never know that like it's mainly been just a handful of us over the past couple of years. And, it's just,
You're targeted though too. Like, see, if someone was just looking at like Alexa rank and unique views per month, you would never come on their radar because you don't rank high. But you rank really high for the keywords that matter. You've picked 3 or 4, and you really rank high for those. Because like when I click on the thing, what you rank for conversational intelligence software, and go to the page, it's not a long blog post. It's a landing page with great images, smart H1 tags, a video built in the middle, and then some stuff at the bottom. So your team, it's not like you're spending hundreds of hours writing blog content. They just needed you to write headlines and little descriptions for the design, and they did all the optimization.
Correct. I mean, we've written, I think, close to 60 blog posts. We have 40 plus podcasts built or recorded. So we are generating a significant amount of content, Nathan, to help kind of bolster all of that.
I love this story. So you have there's 2 full-time employees right now, effectively.
Correct.
$1 million in revenue per employee, folks. Love this. Greg, I say one day, I think very soon there's going to be someone that takes a company public with less than 10 FTEs, a SaaS company. You could be one of those. John at Smart Suite is another one I'm watching very closely, but I'd love for it to be you.
That would be, that wouldn't be a bad day.
All right, cool. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
Favorites? Oh, Simon Sinek, Start With Why.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I like Steve Jobs. I can't go wrong with Steve Jobs.
He's a good one. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building abstract besides your own?
For online tool for building abstract, I gotta give HubSpot a shout. Free tools. I mean, we've been free CRM, free marketing tools for a while now.
Hey, real quick, if Amit from Gong comes and offers to buy you for $25 million all cash up front, do you sell today?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Everyone always says, no, I have to talk to the board, or no, I have to talk to my wife. You're like, no, if that happens, 10x multiple.
I'll take it. Just come bring me on board for 3 years and let me run the product.
It would not shock me, Greg, seriously, because of the quality of people we have listening to the show. If you get some inbound from this, we'll see what happens. So here, number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I'm very fortunate to have a wife that takes very good care of me. And so I usually get like 7-8 hours of sleep a night.
Okay. Yeah. So 7, married, 1 kid already, and another one, due in 3 months?
In July. Yeah. So 3 months-ish. Yeah.
Is it weird that I knew that? I feel like a July baby. All right. Last, how old are you, Greg?
I'll be 35 in June.
Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
I wish I would have known to listen to my dad every time he told me that something would happen or I would feel a certain way. And I fought him every step of the way. I wish I would have known to listen to my dad. Guys,
Abstract.ai launched in 2020. He was one of the first users of Gong at a company called Acton when he was doing sales. He said, you know what? I need to make this stuff real time. He's done it with a laser focused SEO strategy. They've gone from basically nothing to $170,000 a month in revenue over the past 5 months, a $2 million run rate, and get this, 2 full-time employees. He's very smartly used contractors to preserve equity and preserve his cash and have a really healthy balance sheet. And also has done this pretty cash effectively. He's only raised about $630,000 to drive $2 million revenue. Very healthy capital efficiency. We'll see what happens next. Greg, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks, Nathan. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for having us.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.